found the apartment online. Small, cheap, and close to work. The ad said the current tenant, a guy named Caleb, was looking for someone to split rent. I didn't think twice. The first time I met him, something felt off. He was polite enough, soft-spoken, but there was this stillness about him. He barely blinked. His skin looked pale, almost gray, like he hadn't seen the sun in years. But hey, rent was half the price of anywhere else. I told myself I was being judgmental. The first week was fine. We kept to ourselves. But then I noticed something. Caleb never seemed to sleep. I'd get up at midnight for water, and he'd be sitting in the living room, just staring at the TV, though the screen was black. I'd leave for work at 7 in the morning, and he'd still be there. At first I joked about it. "Do you ever sleep?" I asked once. He smiled, this thin-lipped, uncomfortable smile, and said, "Not when you're around." I laughed, but he didn't. That's when I started hearing him at night, pacing in the hallway, whispering in some strange language I didn't recognize. One night I woke up and nearly screamed. He was standing in my doorway, just watching me. When I shouted, he tilted his head and said, "Sorry. Bad dream." And he walked away. I bought a little camera and set it up in my room, just to ease my nerves. That night, I pretended to sleep. The next morning, I watched the footage. My stomach turned to ice. Around 2 a.m., I saw him crawl out from under my bed. Slowly. His limbs bent at unnatural angles, like his bones didn't fit right. He climbed onto my mattress and lay down beside me, copying my breathing. Hours passed like that. He didn't move, didn't blink, just watched me. My hands were shaking when I looked up from the laptop. And there he was, sitting across the room, smiling. "I like it better," he whispered, "when you pretend to sleep." I'd been desperate for a roommate. Rent was eating me alive, and I couldn't keep my apartment without help. When Ivy showed up, quiet, artsy, with a shy smile, I was relieved. She had one suitcase, a few boxes of books, and not much else. She was nice, but odd. She never let me in her room, ever. She kept the door locked, even when she was home. After a few weeks, things started to feel wrong. Food kept disappearing from the fridge. I'd wake up to find the faucet running, the front door unlocked. At first I thought Ivy was just forgetful, but then I started hearing voices, low, muffled, coming from her room late at night. At first I thought she was on the phone, but sometimes there was a man's voice, deep, whispering back. One night I pressed my ear to the door. Ivy's voice was sharp, angry. Then the man's voice answered. I froze. There shouldn't have been anyone else in there. I panicked and threw the door open. Ivy sat cross-legged in the corner, staring at the wall. The room was empty. No man, no phone, nothing. Ivy, who were you talking to? I stammered. Her head turned slowly, her eyes wide and wet. But she wasn't looking at me. She was staring at the empty corner. I told you not to listen, she said softly. He doesn't like it when you listen. I backed out of the room, my chest tight. That night I locked my door and shoved a chair under the knob. At 3 a.m., the door opened anyway. I woke to Ivy's breath hot against my ear. Her voice was shaking, almost apologetic. I'm sorry. He chose you. I turned my head just enough to see the shadow of something massive sitting on the edge of my bed. Something with shoulders that scraped the ceiling, and then everything went black. should have trusted my gut. That ad was too good to be true. Cheap rent, nice neighborhood, and the guy who owned the place, Sean, seemed totally normal. He was tall, clean-cut, polite. The only rule he gave me was simple: never go into my room. At first it was easy enough to respect, but after a couple weeks, the smell started. It seeped under his door at night, rotten meat, sour, metallic, like blood. I asked him about it once, and he smiled without showing his teeth. "I'm working on an art project," he said. "It gets messy." The sounds followed, wet, tearing noises, like meat being ripped apart. I'd lie awake, clutching my blanket, listening to him groan and breathe heavily on the other side of that thin wall. One night, I got up for water and saw his shadow in the hallway, but it wasn't right. His arms stretched too long, his head tilted at an impossible angle. When I blinked, it was gone. The night my dog disappeared, I knew. I pounded on his door, screaming. He didn't answer. The smell was unbearable. I kicked the door in. What I saw. His room was a nest of bones, stripped clean, piled high in the corners. The floor was soaked in something dark. And in the center, crouched low, was Sean. Or what used to be Sean. His jaw unhinged wider than any human should. His skin was split in places, black sinew writhing underneath. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. He smiled, blood dripping from his teeth. "I told you not to come in." His voice gurgled, wrong, doubled. "Now you're next." The door slammed shut behind me. No one ever saw me again.
Thank you for watching CNT Horror Stories. Please like and subscribe for more stories.